Continuing from the previous episode 1905. The latest website, Xiao Yan, the handsome lord. The feeling of the rest of his life made Zhan Yuan's voice rather hoarse, but looking at the awe-inspiring figure above the void, he couldn't help muttering. "Thank you for your hard work." Xiao Yan responded quite softly. Immediately, the invisible soul power on his body and a trace of holy flame shrouded the 500 monsters outside, which restored their breath and even their state. "A lot. Sir, hurry up." After Shun breathed, Zhan Yuan snorted coldly, extremely urgent. He knew that even if Xiao Yan made a move, they would definitely not be able to defeat the evil-eyed Demon King and the 100,000 army behind him. That is the 100,000 army, which is the reliance of the evil-eyed Demon King. Among them are well-trained monsters and elites. They are full of calculations, and there are only 1,000 monsters, which is 100 times worse, not to mention the strength of the second army. That disparity level. Tnu, the command of the army will be handed over to you. Enveloped by the scorching flames, Xiao Yan stepped on the void and looked indifferently at the evil-eyed Demon King and the top leaders of the army among the black monster army in the distance. The location, a strong killing intent, diffused out. Xiao Yan is also clear that in today's situation, there is no foreign aid, only self-transcendence. What if the 100,000 legion is tyrannical? They are also flesh and blood, they are also afraid of life and death, they also have many weaknesses like humans, and there is one most important thing. Xiao Yan wanted to use this to completely stimulate his clan lines. After the rest, Tianyu Yaoshe watched Xiao Yan act like this, and successfully merged with the elites behind him and the strong people below, but the surrounding attacks ended with their appearance. Now they seem to be surrounded by enemies, and they are waiting to be slaughtered. The Lamb is generally passive. With thousands of people against 100,000 people, this situation can be described as wonderful and wonderful. After Shunshi, looking at Xiao Yan's proudly standing figure, and the powerful monster beasts under his feet, the first among the 100,000 monster beast army, the evil-eyed Demon King stood up slightly, patting his white hands. The slender figure looks extremely evil, and in this silent battlefield, the voice is extremely harsh. "I have to say, I admire your courage. However, there must be a limit to your whimsical idea. Hand over all the proceeds from the tomb of the Demon Emperor, this king can give you a way to live. Otherwise, the body and spirit will be destroyed." The evil-eyed Demon King snorted coldly, and the meaning of the words was hard to stop. What if you get all the treasures in the Demon Emperor's tomb? After all, these things belong to his evil-eyed Demon King. Since Xiao Yan and his group devoured the treasure privately, he had no choice but to let them spit it out. Ru Mao drinking blood is not a bad idea. Leave us a way out? Hand over the treasure? You are dreaming. Xiao Yan looked at the evil-eyed Demon King and the many high-level demon beasts behind him with disdain. "Good boy. You have courage, so, you will die miserably in a while." Ha ha ha. The Demon King of Evil Eyes seemed to have expected it for a long time. Facing Xiao Yan's appearance, he laughed outright. The loud laughter was mixed with a strong demonic energy that rose to the sky, and it was like a thunderstorm that quickly covered the entire battlefield, making the spirit of the 100,000 demon beast army even more terrifying. "I'll give you this." At the same time, Xiao Yan's figure was like a rapidly expanding ball, paving the way for this world. Shi Xie Yao is handsome, Scale Monster is handsome, Charming Yao is handsome. This guy will be handed over to you. Seeing Xiao Yan's behavior like this, the evil-eyed Demon King returned directly to his position after he finished speaking. Up, softly. A guy who is only in the early stage of 7-star fighting immortals, with a team of 1,000 people, obviously does not have the qualifications to let himself do it. This time, let's do it. After Shun breath, one of the 3 monster army monster commanders, the Scale Monster Commander, said with a smile on his face. "The Corpse Demon General, the Mu Mei General, the 2 of you will work together to capture this traitor." The Scale Demon Commander said to the Scale Demon army behind him. Suddenly, a corpse aura swept across his body, and his body was full of corrosive aura. A monster whose body was wrapped in countless vines stepped out together. Go! Boom boom boom! The 2 of them charged with unrivaled terrifying demonic energy and charged directly at the location of Xiao Yan's team. "Sir." At this time, the team of Xiao Yan and others had converged, and 1,000 elite monsters were closely surrounded by 100,000 monster army. Two groups of streamers came out and approached them. Crash! Before the figure arrived, one of the two suddenly shot out from the air. At the same time, above the gloomy sky, the rotten gray corpse energy turned into an energy storm, facing the sky. Xiao Yan's body was smashed. Xiao Yan's body, dressed in a black shirt, stands with an ancient ruler tightly behind his back. If he is hit by such a terrifying attack, I am afraid that he will be seriously injured in an instant. Bang bang bang! The extremely rotten corpse gas had just arrived at Xiao Yan's side, and the dark void around Xiao Yan seemed to be ignited, and the hot sacred aura swept out. Energy fluctuations and loud noises flooded out. Get away from me! Xiao Yan's face was gloomy, his palms were wrapped in amber-colored sacred flames, and the void wriggled behind him. When he appeared the next moment, he was already in front of the corpse demon general. Hey, I can't see it, you asterisk is still. Poof. The corpse demon general looked at Xiao Yan's bizarre behavior. Although he was caught off guard, he still sneered at the tyranny of his own strength, but before he finished speaking, Xiao Yan's flaming giant palm with a touch of unspeakable divine power directly pierced through his monster beast body. Tick-tock! Impossible! This is... The last thought of the corpse monster emerged, and it was beheaded by Xiao Yan with the fire of holy flame and thunder. That sound is particularly harsh. And you, the wood charm monster beside the corpse monster general, watched with his own eyes the tyrannical body protecting corpse energy around the corpse monster general, and it disappeared quickly under Xiao Yan's flame palm, like thin ice encountering a raging fire. Generally speaking, there is a slight sense of fear for a while. Bang bang bang! The wood enchanting general reacted very quickly. When Xiao Yan had just defeated the corpse demon general, the dense wood attribute filled his body, and a mass of demonic vines over 100 meters wrapped tightly around him. The degree of tyranny of defense is obvious to all. Gotcha! However, the charming demon general's reaction speed was fast, but Xiao Yan's attack was one step faster than him. His defense had not yet been fully formed, and the amber flames of Xiao Yan's body were venting out, instantly destroying those defensive wooden vines. Burn up! This is Sheng Yan? At the same time, seeing that his strongest defense was so vulnerable in front of Xiao Yan, new charming monster shrank his beast's eyes tightly and lost his voice. Get out of here! Xiao Yan ignored new charming demon general's last words before his death. His palm was twisted, and he also pierced through the wooden charming demon general's body, completely destroying its vitality. After killing the corpse demon general and the wooden charm demon general with the power of thunder, the demon cube in Xiao Yan's body unknowingly devoured the 2 demon pills, filling himself immediately, and the saturation actually reached 12%. After taking a good breath, Xiao Yan stretched out his hands at the same time, grabbed the bodies of the corpse demon general and the wood charming demon general, and shot at the evil-eyed demon king abruptly. Crash! 2 black shadows shot out, and the 100,000 monster beast legion below and the top management hadn't figured out what it was, and a *** aura filled the air. What's the matter? The scathing monster Handsome saw 2 groups of black shadows rushing in with a cold snort. The dazzling demonic energy formed a demonic energy barrier and took over the 2 shadows. This is... The other 2 demon Handsomes frowned upon seeing this. At this time, the figure lying on the barrier of the handsome demonic energy of the scale demon was clearly the 2 demon generals who had just sent out to obliterate Xiao Yan. At this time, their demon pills were taken away, like a dead dog being thrown out, and their heads exploded. The 7 orifices were bleeding, and the *** and terrifying pictures stimulated the minds of every high-level monster present. This Xiao Yan actually used the strength of the early stage of the 7-star fighting Immortal to obliterate their 2 demon generals who were at the perfect level of the 7-star fighting Immortal in the blink of an eye. When did the 7-star Dushan perfection level powerhouse become so vulnerable? Don't waste time for this, king. The 3 of you, take action together and kill him for me. Seeing such a scene, the evil-eyed demon king raised his head and looked at Xiao Yan, who was standing quietly in the sky. The voice, accompanied by a strong killing intent, swept away. Continuing from the previous episode 1906. The latest website, let's do it together. Kill him! The extremely cold killing intent of the evil-eyed demon king swept through the army of 100,000 monsters. Suddenly, the monstrous demonic energy turned into a ferocious energy snakehead, entrenched on top of his head, and the next moment roaring away at Xiao Yan. After Xiao Yan had dealt with the two demon generals, he also stepped on the void, and between his palms turned, blobs of amber-colored sacred flames lingered out. Seeing the demonic snake head in front of him blasting towards him, Xiao Yan was cold. Snort and wave away. Boom! The incomparably dazzling demonic snakehead and Xiao Yan's flame energy swept together, neither of them let the other, and they were evenly matched for a while. Do it! Listening to the Demon King's angry roar, the three demon marshals did not hesitate, turned into a stream of light, escaped from the demon beast army, and shot towards Xiao Yan above the void. 3 8-star fighting immortal early stage powerhouses. The stone monster is handsome, the scale monster is handsome, and the charming monster is handsome. Sir, what should we do now? Watching the three powerhouses attack, Tianyu Yaoshe asked with a weak soul voice transmission. This situation is beyond his grasp, and now he can only all hopes are pinned on Xiao Yan, and as long as Xiao Yan gives an order, it is not impossible for the battle to be turned upside down. Gather up your strength and prepare for a counterattack. I will fight with them in a while. I'm afraid I won't have time to take care of you. I will deal with the three demon commanders, the evil-eyed Demon King, and his personal guards. As for the 100,000 monster army, I'm afraid. Xiao Yan responded, but he was rather apprehensive about the so-called charming demon Yansui. Understood, my lord. After Tianyu Yaoshe finished speaking, he also secretly gave them some monster blood essence obtained from the grave, and for a while, their power slowly recovered. In the sky, the 3 8-star fighting immortals will arrive in an instant. Even Xiao Yan, facing the 3 8-star fighting immortals at the same time, is still too difficult. After all, these three are the battle-hardened elite generals under the evil-eyed Demon King. It is not the flowers in the greenhouse, whether it is the grasp of the timing of the battle or its own strength, it is extremely terrifying. Boy, we meet again. At this moment, Lin Yao Yaoshuai's body flashed with shocking and terrifying power, and he said slowly. What happened before was your intention, right? Xiao Yan said calmly, seemingly unmoved. What if it is? What if it isn't? However, it's a pity that only a little fish like yours was caught. The Demon King of 10,000 demons is more cautious. The scaled demon commander said helplessly. Yes, old bastards. As soon as the words fell, Xiao Yan's face became illusory. The hot flames around his body were no longer concealed, and they burned to the limit. All the breath of Sheng Yan was also evident at this moment. Wang Om! The dazzling amber flames burned violently, and this piece of void had an obvious twist. The extremely hot sacred flame actually caused the 100,000 monster army below to feel quite heartbroken. Holy flame! No wonder he was entrusted with the important task by the Wan Yaowing, but unfortunately he met us. Shi Xie, the two of us joined forces. Mei Yao, you are in charge of fainting in secret, do it. After a simple conversation, the real battle was about to break out. Boom! First of all, Shi Xie, a yellow power spread out from his body, and immediately protected his skin, like a rock giant surrounded by rocks. For Xiao Yan, it was quite difficult. The guy who is looking for a dead end, take me a blow. Shi Xie and Lin Shuai led Xiao Yan around one after another, and Shi Xie was the first to speak. His eyes as solid as a rock suddenly changed. It became cold, and there was no concealment of the violent killing intent between the words. It's up to you? Seeing this, Xiao Yan's body was covered with fighting spirit, and the dragon *** transformation came out. The corner of his mouth smiled slightly, his hands slowly carried his back, and the monstrous killing intent hidden between his eyebrows was even more than the former. Fear! And with the blessing of Amber Rock's soul fire, Xiao Yan's power is now the real peak. Hope so. Look at the claws. As soon as Shi Xia's voice fell, his shriveled rock hand grasped the ferocious power of eagle claws. He suddenly raised it, and immediately went to Xiao Yan's claw, who was close at hand. Countless rock fragments fell off his body, and then in the sky, an extremely solid and huge mountain was formed. The mountain not only contained suffocating terrifying power, but even countless sharp thorns that approached Xiao Yan. Boom! Xiao Yan didn't act rashly, but the amber flame on his body seemed to be provoked, and immediately under Xiao Yan's control, he rushed directly at the rocky peak. Crash! A low voice suddenly came from Xiao Yan's side, and the sky where the three of them stood suddenly trembled violently, and the extremely sharp rocky peak was directly covered with amber under the gazes of countless eyes. The flames burst out abruptly. Although the power of the rock peaks is tyrannical, in front of Xiao Yan's amber rock soul fire, it is as weak as paper. Charming demon eyes. At this moment, charming demon Yansui, who had been hiding in the dark, moved. Her whole body flashed with a strange luster, and then her eyes moved, turning into countless rays of light, facing the bottom. Behind Xiao Yan, the elites of thousands of people left. Wang Om! After all, the strongest of the 1,000-people Monster Beast Legion is only the 7-star fighting Immortal. When attacked by such a terrifying eye technique, a strange wave flashed in his eyes. Master. After Shunshi, all the thousands of monsters and beasts were under the control of the charming demon Yansui, except for Tianyu Yaoshe. Damn it. Sir, I'll stop this guy, go away. At this time, Tianyu Yaoshe couldn't help but let out a loud cry, and the demon pill in his body flashed at the same time. His strength was skyrocketing, and he was temporarily entangled, charming Yayanshui. At this moment, all the monster beast legions behind Xiao Yan were controlled by charming Yayanshui alone. Only himself and Tianyu Yaoshe were the only two people. On the other hand, there were the Evil Eye Monster King and the 100,000 Monster Beast Legion. At this moment, Fang was in a real death situation. Could it be that Xiao Yan could really kill 100,000 legions with one person? Dark Underworld. Seeing such a terrifying situation, Xiao Yan did not have any fear at all. After a while, the summoning brand on his palm shone out, and suddenly a figure of a knight surrounded by black energy rose to the ground. Master. The Dark Underworld had just appeared, and he couldn't help but murmured when he looked at the hundreds of thousands of monsters around him and all the high-level officials. Are you afraid? Xiao Yan stood on the shoulders of the Dark Underworld Master and muttered. This sound did not seem to be speaking to the Dark Underworld Master, but to himself. That is to tell the many mysteries of the Xiao ethnic pattern hidden in his body and the most mysterious bloodline of the devil. I've already died once. What's the harm in dying again? But since the master is so interested, then this gentleman will accompany the master to fight. Let me see. This monster world creature is stronger or weaker than me and other underworld creatures. Da da da. The voice of the Dark Underworld priest, the dark breath was revealed, and at the same time, a terrifying breath that looked at death like home, also permeated. As for Xiao Yan, who was standing on his shoulders, the amber flame on his body was burning violently, his eyes were scarlet, and endless power was constantly overflowing from his body, and the entire space was filled with extreme depression. Is it a dead end? One person, 1 foot, 100,000 battles. So what? Opening parenthesis, closing parenthesis. Continuing from the previous episode 1907. The latest website, this is a creature from the underworld. It's comparable to the creatures in the early stage of the 8-star Do Xian. Looking at the Dark Underworld warrior beside Xiao Yan, Shi Xie and Lin Shuai exclaimed at the same time, obviously smelling a rather dark aura from this guy's body. For the shocking taste. Kill! Without any hesitation, Xiao Yan gave an order, and the Dark Underworld Master left Xiao Yan and shot at Shi Xie, instantly stalemate with the latter. Shi Xie is the head of the 3 big demon handsomes, but now facing the Dark Underworld, he can only go all out, and he can't tell his heart for a while, and the charming demon handsome is ranked 3rd, and has already been defeated by the Tianyu demon at this time. Shuai was completely entangled, and for a while, only Xiao Yan and the 2nd-ranked scale monster Shuai remained on the sky. Nice boy, Sheng Yan and the underworld creatures, but if you only have this ability, I am afraid that today you can only stay here forever. Looking at the Heavenly Fox Demon Commander and the Dark Underworld Master, the Scale Demon Commander smiled contemptuously. Then I'll show you today what it means to be outnumbered. What is the real fire of holy flame? Xiao Yan's voice contained an unquestionable scorching flame, and immediately roared, but even so, Xiao Yan knew the terrifying defensive power of this scale monster, so he did not have any reservations. Amber-colored eyes were projected towards the latter, and at the same time, the surging amber-colored holy flames swept away from him, and fierce arcs burst out. Tricks of carving insects. Seeing Xiao Yan's handwriting, the scale demon snorted coldly, and the strange scales on his body suddenly turned hideous like a hedgehog, and instantly formed a scale cover on his body. No matter how fiercely the amber flame burned, he couldn't shake himself in the slightest. Bang bang bang. Rao is the holy flame arc of Xiaoyan's arrogant posture. When he attacked the hedgehog's scale cover, it only caused a trace of energy ripples and a few muffled thunder sounds, just like moths flying into flames. Annihilated on its scales. Trash is trash. Let me show you what is real fear. After easily extinguishing Xiaoyan's holy flame, the scale demon snorted coldly, and the dazzling attack slowly followed. Brewing. This guy, such a hard turtle shell. Looking at the scale monster in front of him, Xiaoyan's eyes couldn't help but become deep. Any strong person must be tyrannical, and even though Sheng Yan is tyrannical, the difference in strength between the two is a whole rank. Sheng Yan's suppression of scale monsters has also been reduced a lot. I am afraid that this scale monster can't support it with a single move. The Thorn of the Scale Armor. Above the sky, the scale monster's attack finally brewed. At that time, above the void, a strange demonic wind was blowing, and the scale monster's slender fingers slowly stretched out towards Xiaoyan, and the 5 fingers were on the top. A piece of slender monster scales grew frantically and shot out at Xiaoyan. Boom! The harsh sound of the wind breaking and the vast demonic energy emerged from the scale monster crazily, injected into the top of the 5 scaled thorns, and suddenly turned into monstrous thorns, at an astonishing speed, right following Xiaoyan's attack. The terrifying power contained in it made countless strong people below fear. The 5 demonic thorns, which were like monstrous waves, stopped abruptly for a while when they came to Xiaoyan's side. Immediately after they were captured by the scale demon's palm, their speed skyrocketed, and they shot at Xiaoyan's vital point. Feeling the extreme power contained in the 5 giant thorns, a frantic smile appeared on Xiaoyan's plain face, and then his eyes turned slightly towards the scale monster in the distance. The seal of the Heavenly King. With a sneer, the palm suddenly formed a seal, and a beam of light that penetrated the sky swept out from Xiaoyan's chest, and a moment later, it attacked with the 5 giant thorns. Btth. An unusually harsh voice filled the entire void, but in a vague way, Xiaoyan's attack actually fell into the lower winds, with the appearance of a bit of a rout. Fire Lion raging. Xiaoyan also knew that just relying on the seal of the Heavenly King could not completely shake the 5 giant thorns of monster energy, and immediately snorted. A huge flame lion shadow condensed out. Go! The Heavenly King's seal held on to the last moment, and it exploded easily and dissipated in a bubble. At the same time, behind Xiaoyan, a fire lion over 1,000 meters in size, with scarlet lion eyes, flashed with a rebellious terror breath, directly pounced on the 5 monster thorns. Crash! The lion rose and the lion fell, and the scale monster's fierce attack was suddenly destroyed by it, and the fire lion quietly crawled in front of Xiaoyan, but the shocking aura shocked everyone present. It's no wonder that he was elected as the demon commander in the early stage of the 7-star fighting Immortal. But that's all. Scale wings. Looking at Xiaoyan's appearance, the scale demon finally has nothing to hide. The power of the 8-star fighting Immortal early stage is undoubtedly displayed. Countless scales of different shapes all over his body are detached from his body and are immediately injected into his body. Void in front of you. The extremely dazzling monster scales quickly formed a pair of monster scale wings in front of it. The scale wings were solidified from countless solid scales, and the pair of thousands of feet scale wings had just condensed and formed, and were stretched out by the scale monster. A ripple of strong demon energy was released, and even because of this power, the entire void and even the barren land below trembled slightly. That's the way it is, Xiaoyan said with a slight smile at the corners of his mouth when he saw the scene of the scale inflammation. The extremely dazzling holy flame was continuously injected into the body of the fire lion around him. At that time, the incomparably holy flame breath swept out against the monster scale wings in front of him. At the same time, the spiritual palace in Xiaoyan's body was also trembling very covertly, as if Xiaoyan was mobilizing a huge soul power. That level of soul power has the power to truly kill an 8-star fighting Immortal powerhouse. Die. As the scale wings stretched and waved on the scale monster, gusts of wind emerged, and the space above the void became distorted. Shabu shabu. After the breath, the scale wing behind the scale demon vigorously instigated, and immediately fanned out a giant shadow of scale wing energy. The giant shadow twisted the void, and under countless horrified eyes, it smashed heavily towards Xiao Yan. The fire lion beside him, and Xiao Yan. At this moment there was a gust of wind between the heavens and the earth, and the scale-wing phantom was like a beam of death, tearing apart everything along the way. It seemed that the next moment would be the scene where Xiao Yan was easily obliterated. Master Yao She, looking at Xiao Yan, who was motionless and only protected by the extreme scarlet fire lion, Tianyu Yao She couldn't help but his eyes were red and his nose was sour. Still lost? You'd better take care of yourself first. Charming Yao She twisted his attractive figure, and every twist would bring up many phantoms, making Tianyu Yao She like a formidable enemy. Boom! The energy of the scale wing destroying the sky and the earth is intertwined with the fire lion, and in this gloomy battlefield, which is already dark, a beautiful picture is formed. That kind of scene, like a flame elf being beheaded by two wings, and then ready to be reborn from ashes, is beautiful and regrettable. And the two just touched, one after another. Shocking thunder and vast energy ripples swept away, affecting the hearts of countless monsters. Opening parenthesis, closing parenthesis. Continuing from the previous episode 1908. The latest website. Boom. The fire lion with a volume of thousands of feet and the huge scale wings just touched, and an extremely violent force tilted down from the sky. So that some monsters close to the center of the battle were instantly submerged and turned into powder. Whether it's the raging fire lion or the scale wing, the energy contained in the two is probably enough to truly frighten the powerhouses in the early stage of the 8-star fighting immortals. Crash! When the contact between the fire lion and the huge scale wing was about to end, a body bathed in amber flames resisted the terrifying energy ripples, squirming and shuttling rapidly, surging like a ghost. What kind of power is this? It's not good. And the scaled demon commander saw that Xiao Yan was able to match his own level of attack. A shock flashed in his eyes, but he was not surprised yet. It didn't disappear, but he noticed an astonishing and strange force, resisting the violent explosion and fluctuation of the two forces, and actually swept towards him. Gotcha! Xiao Yan's speed is extremely fast, and his soul power is deadly to ordinary monsters. Therefore, the 100,000 monster army below can only see that the sky above is like an undefeated scale monster war ****. At this time, the scale wings behind him melted rapidly as if the power was exhausted, and even a trace of conspicuous cracks emerged from the scale wings, and finally exploded suddenly with the sound of a burst of spar shattering. That feeling is like a weak woman with no strength to hold a chicken, and the terrifying scale wings behind her are actually torn apart easily, and a heart-piercing roar affects countless monsters. Heartspin. Not good. That's soul power. The scaled demon. Go back. In the distance, the Mian Yaoshe who was fighting with the Tianyu Yaoshe suddenly noticed something and exclaimed. A look of disbelief flashed in the beautiful eyes, and the slender jade hand was able to raise it. Roaring towards the sky, but unfortunately this guy's soul power has no binding force on Xiao Yan at all. The power that Xiao Yan exerted just now was definitely soul power, and that soul power actually made him feel uneasy for a while. This level of power has great lethality against scale monsters, and handsome. Except for the monsters who use the eye surgery, they will cultivate their soul power. For ordinary monsters, almost no one would waste time cultivating their soul power. The aftermath of the battle slowly dissipated, and the eyes of many monsters below also showed a sense of horror. The dignified demon Handsome is just so vulnerable. In an instant, an extremely arrogant voice, accompanied by a sluggish icy body, projected towards the evil-eyed demon Handsome. Bang bang bang. With a sound, Xiao Yan threw the handsome figure of the scale monster and the monster at will. Wong, Lord Scale Monster and Yaoshe, the demon pill has been taken away, and he has no power, already. Fallen. After Shunshi, several high-ranking members of the evil-eyed demon group beside the evil-eyed demon king caught the body of the scaled demon Handsome, and after a careful exploration, they spoke tremblingly. Okay, Xiao Yan, you have lost several of my generals one after another. Today, the king will smash your corpse into tens of thousands of pieces, drink your blood dry, and use your corpse and ribs to make an evil object that is spurned by others. To sacrifice to the spirits of all of you in the sky. At this moment, the clear eyes of the evil-eyed Demon King flashed with extreme anger. He would never have imagined that a mere guy in the early stage of the 7-star Fighting Immortal could easily kill 2 complete demon generals of the 7-star Fighting Immortal, and even the dignified scaled demon commander in the early stage of the 8-star Fighting Immortal would fall into his hands. King, let this guy come, you still need your strength. Looking at the evil-eyed Demon King in such a furious state, the top guards behind him couldn't help but hurriedly said, "If you are dealing with a guy in the early stage of the 7-star Fighting Immortals, you need the evil-eyed Demon King to easily take action. I am afraid that once this matter spreads, their reputation as the evil-eyed Demon King will be. Do you still want us to kill more generals? This guy has the fire of holy flame, and he has the soul of the underworld, and he is also a strong person who cultivates the power of the soul. You are not his opponent. He will be wiped out by me personally." After the evil-eyed Demon King finished speaking, he left his position, and then slowly collapsed. When Du appeared, he was already above the sky of the battlefield, with a condescending aura. Asterisk is about to slay a heinous devil. At the same time, countless monsters below stared blankly at this figure. When the evil-eyed Demon King smashed the void, it seemed that all the space in this battlefield was quiet, and an extremely tyrannical fluctuation caused the monsters are all afraid and dare not have any heart palpitations. This is the terrifying power possessed by the evil-eyed Demon King in the middle stage of the 8-star Fighting Immortals, one of the top 10 forces in the demon world. Hoo, are you finally willing to do it? I thought you were a guy who was greedy for life and feared death, and would only let his subordinates die. Xiao Yan looked at the extremely docile evil-eyed Demon King in front of him. The blood in his body was shaking uncontrollably, and there was a rare touch in his voice. Even if he didn't make a move and didn't feel it deliberately, Xiao Yan could smell an extremely terrifying oppression from this guy's body. That oppression not only stemmed from strength, but also from the soul. It seemed that the evil-eyed Demon King in front of him was a mountain that Xiao Yan could not overcome no matter what. General gap to cross. The boy with sharp teeth and sharp mouth. But this king hereby announces that your life will come to an end at this moment. A gentle voice emerged from the mouth of the evil-eyed Demon King, but there was a dullness in the voice. The power seems to be able to instantly solidify the void, even the blood in the monster's body. At this time, the evil-eyed Demon King is dressed in silver-white robes, and in the clear eyes, there is always a strong breath that cannot help but worship, and is extremely angry. The emotion, that kind of anger, is not comparable to that of a 7-star Fighting Immortal in the early stage, and can resist it. For a time, the entire battlefield, whether it was the 1,000 monsters behind Xiao Yan, who was controlled by charm, and the 100,000 monsters below, all tightened their bodies at this moment, and looked at this figure with admiration and respect. Come on, let me see if the evil-eyed demon handsome at the mid-level of the 8-star Fighting Immortals is as terrifying as the rumors say. Above the sky, the deadly silence did not last long, when Xiao Yan was killed by Xiao Yan. The sound of death is broken. Lord Xiao Yan. At this moment, the demon handsome Tianyu was completely restrained and captured by the demon handsome. In the entire battlefield, only the dark underworld warrior who stopped the demon handsome Shi Xie and the man standing in the sky and the incompetent were left. The evil-eyed demon king of the world. At this moment, Feng Wei is really fighting 100,000. Who will end up in this battle? Opening parenthesis, closing parenthesis. Continuing from the previous episode 1909. The latest website, the middle stage of the 8 stars Fighting Immortals. I'm also looking forward to it. In Xiao Yan's fiery pupils, he couldn't help sticking out his tongue and licking his dry mouth and feet, and immediately stared at the evil-eyed monster in front of him. King. Not to mention anything else, this kind of breath alone makes Xiao Yan feel numb in his scalp, but he still has the 3 treasures given by the 10,000 Demon King and other means, so it is not impossible to fight, and for the evil-eye demon for an opponent like Wang who used soul power pupil technique as his main attack method, Xiao Yan also had a strong sense of thirst for war pervading his heart. In your body, you not only have the aura of the treasures of the Demon Emperor, but even the souls of the underworld, holy flames and other things. These things are wasteful things in your hands. After you fall, I will enjoy these things for you. So, suffer. The last word fell, and the overwhelming icy killing intent swept out, and the whole body of the evil-eyed Demon King suddenly twisted into the void, his figure moved, and shot towards Xiao Yan. Even if the evil-eyed Demon King is not a strong man who mainly fights in close quarters, but with the strength of the middle stage of the 8-star fighting Immortal, the battle seems to have no suspense. Hey! With a sound, a black shadow flashed out from Xiao Yan's side, and the white palm bent straight and shot directly at it. The icy energy fluctuations contained in it were like a 10,000-year ice cellar, extremely cold. Fire explosion, the tyrant's pattern. Looking at the evil-eyed Demon King who came with monstrous killing intent, Xiao Yan did not dare to take it lightly, and the speed skyrocketed, thus forming a dazzling tortoise-shaped water curtain all over his body. Firmly protect it. I can't handle myself. Seeing that the turtle-walking water curtain temporarily blocked his attack, the evil-eyed Demon King snorted coldly, raised his palm, and countless clear water swept out of his body, and was immediately pinched by him. It exploded and turned into invisible energy ripple lightsabers, stabbing away at Xiao Yan, the chilling aura contained in it. I'm afraid that the real 8-star fighting Immortals would be moved by it. Sure enough, it's still too reluctant. At this moment, seeing these attacks, Xiao Yan's face, a trace of tiredness swept out, obviously with the help of the early stage of the 7-star fighting Immortals. Even with the blessing of many means, he couldn't be with the 8th the battle between the evil-eyed Demon King in the middle stage of Xingdushan, but under that tiredness, there is an extremely crazy fluctuation hidden. Have you given up? Then turn it into dust under my attack. Seeing that Xiao Yan had no defense, his lightsaber pierced through the huge water curtain little by little, and assassinated Xiao Yan. Peefed. Just when the terrifying attack was about to touch Xiao Yan for several dozen meters, a scarlet elixir flashing with enormous energy slowly emerged in Xiao Yan's palm. The terrifying energy that countless strong people are jealous of, slowly diffuses out. Immortal Armor Defense Armor. Xiao Yan first snorted coldly, and then a silver armor wrapped tightly around Xiao Yan's body. After a while, Xiao Yan's eyes showed a contemptuous smile, and the scarlet medicinal pill was directly swallowed by him. In the belly, bang bang bang, the scarlet medicinal pill had just entered the body, and an extreme force slowly awakened like a sleeping dragon, and at the same time, Xiao Yan's breath also rose little by little from a weak state. The middle stage of the 7-star fighting Immortals. The initial stage of 8-star fighting Immortals. In just a few breaths, Xiao Yan's strength has skyrocketed to the level of the initial stage of the 8-star fighting Immortals, and he is protected by the immortal armor. At this time, Xiao Yan's combat power and defense power are far from just comparable. Oh, a medicinal pill that forcibly enhances strength? Upgrade a whole rank? I'm afraid this side effect is not cheap, right? Xiao Yan's sudden 8-star fighting spirit was instantly shattered by his own attacks, and the evil-eyed Demon King sneered. There was also an unquestionable sarcasm in his voice, as if even now Xiao Yan, who is also not qualified to let him face it. The side effects are quite big, but it's worth the price of your life. At this moment, Xiao Yan's mouth curled into a dangerous arc as he smiled slowly. The efficacy of the Po Neng pill is only a stick of incense. If he can't solve the evil-eyed Demon King in this incense stick, I'm afraid that his end will be extremely miserable. Watch out! Holy fire cage! At this moment, Xiao Yan did not hesitate. His body trembled. An amber flame on the palm of his hand, under Xiao Yan's subtle control, turned into a shackle of flames that filled the sky, shooting at the evil-eyed Demon King. Go! The sacred aura contained in it is far from being comparable to that of the 7-star fighting Immortals just now. An ant is an ant after all. No matter how you jump around, it's just a waste of time in the end. Seeing Xiao Yan's terrifying attack, the evil-eyed Demon King's eyes gleamed, and after a while, he faced Xiao Yan and exploded. Shooting away, an irresistible terrifying force spread out from his eyes, making Xiao Yan unable to move for a while. Boom! The amber flame shackles were invaded by this mysterious force, and the two immediately clashed. Finally, the amber flame shackles were completely submerged in this mysterious colorless light, and the light did not stop. It meant that he continued to shatter the void and left to Xiao Yan. A soul power attack? At this moment, Xiao Yan's face couldn't help but look a little ugly, and he stared at the evil-eyed Demon King who was high and below zero. A terrifying attack. Since that's the case, Xiao Yan smiled slightly when he saw this. Immediately, the overwhelming source of holy flame emerged, and directly wiped out the invisible light. However, by virtue of that moment's induction, Xiao Yan was aware of this guy's behavior. Exact strength. Taishu late-stage soul power. This level of powerhouse, combined with the strength in the middle stage of the 8-star fighting immortals, made Xiao Yan really moved. Come on. After the breath, in the sea of fighting qi in Xiao Yan's body, the yellowish holy flame of immortal flame flashed with a yellowish flame. At the same time, an ancient aura slowly emerged from Xiao Yan's body. Emerging from the top, the kind of fluctuations that seem to be immortal, make people irresistible. These two, Xiao Yan, who saw the 100,000 monster beast legion below, who was temporarily tied with the evil eye demon king in the sky, couldn't help but muttered. However, their eyes shifted, and when they saw the surging power in the eyes of the demon king, like the vast stars slowly taking shape, they were also relieved. After the evil eye demon king's eye technique is completed, only the powerhouses below the middle stage of the 8-star fighting immortals will be destroyed, because the monsters or human beings who fall under this blow are not 1,000 but 100. Being able to force me to use the source eye technique to deal with you even if you fall here, it is enough to be proud of. Evil eye gloom. Just finished speaking, the eyes of the evil eye demon king were abnormally white, and the next moment, a harsh roar suddenly swept out, accompanied by 2 sets of eyes from the evil eye demon king. The colorless light emitted from it. The colorless light was like an ordinary light arc that was calm, and it completely locked Xiao Yan before it was born, but only Xiao Yan knew that the aura contained in it was actually a power second only to samsara. That is annihilation. If you get the slightest bit of contamination, I'm afraid you will die instantly. Immortal. Golden body. The colorless light moved slowly, and wherever it passed, the space collapsed, and countless forces quietly crawled down, but at the same time, Xiao Yan's solemn aura and a roar that shattered his eardrums accompanied a golden giant with a figure of thousands of meters appeared in this void. That feeling, like an immortal thing, never changes. Opening parenthesis, closing parenthesis.